Hi, welcome to the 24-25 Back to School Trainings Module 1. We're going to be talking about the WIDA Screener for Kindergarten and WIDA Screener Online. My name is Chris Williams. I am the Program Consultant in the Office of Assessment and Accountability. Let's begin. We've got several modules that we're going to be doing for back to school trainings this year for access and alternate access. So our first module today is going to be the WIDA Screener for Kindergarten and WIDA Screener Online. We will have several modules within this. The next module that I'll do is Identified EL Students. Third module is WIDA Secure Portal. Fourth module is WIDA AMS, which is the WIDA Assessment Management System. And then module 5, which is Access and Alternate Access. So we're going to start our first module, number 1, with the WIDA Screener for Kindergarten and WIDA Online Screener. Now, once the way we're going to start this out is we're going to be talking about the home language survey, because that's the first thing you're going to do when you get a new student into your district and who hasn't been previously in any other district. And so, or a state has not been identified EL at any place. And so they're brand new. They are going to fill out that home language survey. With the home language surveys, there's going to be 4 questions that you're going to be doing. And those 4 questions are: what is the language most frequently spoken at home? Which language did your child learn when he or she first began to talk? What language does your child most frequently speak at home? And the last one, what language do you most frequently speak to your child? Now, when you get ready and the parents are filling this out when they first come, because like I said, the home language survey should be a separate form that the parent is filling out when they register their students at the beginning of the school year. You want to make sure that with that home language survey that that you've got an interpreter there in case someone, in case the parents need some translation, or you need some translation both with the parent and the student. So always make sure that your person who is registering the students are well prepared prior to when the students are coming in to register for the first time in your district. And you want to make sure they're trained on what is on the home language survey, that particular form. But in case the parents have any questions about that form, that's always important, because that helps to, keep students from being misidentified. And so we always want to make sure that parents are well aware, because parents sometimes get confused when they're filling this form out, because they were like, well, maybe I'm teaching my child a foreign language. Well, that's not what an English learner is. They come with English as their second language. And so some students will come with multiple languages, maybe not just, their home language. So it's very important that, that you are well prepared and ready to go when the students come in. Now, if they answer to any of the 4 required questions, another language other than English, then you're going to get them prepared for screening. And you want to have your staff ready to be able to, ahead of time, before school starts, being trained on through the WIDA Secure Portal. And so they'll need an account. And how are they going to get an account? Well, first, you as a DAC will want to make sure that you've got all of your district staff who need a screener password that that you have put them on the Google form, and they are well prepared to. And then once they're on that Google form, then what we do is I will go and set them up a WIDA Secure Portal account, and that goes directly to that test administrator, who's going to either be screening or be giving access or alternate access this year. So that's always important that first they go through you as the district assessment coordinator. And then once they've gone through you and you've filled out the form that I've sent you, then I'll be more than glad to get their accounts created, and they'll be good to go to the WIDA Secure Portal, log in, and do their trainings. Now, we will have a module that will go through the WIDA Secure Portal that will help them through that training process. And then we will also have the WIDA Screener Online is if you've got any students in grades second semester grades 1 through 12, they're going to be taking the WIDA Screener Online. And that is done through the WIDA Assessment Management System, which we call WIDA AMS. And there's a separate training too on how to get them into registrations and get them set up for screener. And so we will talk about more about WIDA AMS and the WIDA Secure Portal in separate modules. Now, you're probably saying, well, Chris, you know, I have some kindergarten students, so what do I do with them? Because they're not going to be in WIDA AMS. So what you're going to do is you're going to get their particular materials through it. They're going to be downloadable, free to you to be able to print from the WIDA website that you can see right here, which is wida.wisc.edu. And you'll be able to get those materials, those paper materials, and get those printed and be able to administer it to your kindergarten students who need the WIDA screener for kindergarten. Now, what do I do once I've given this and the student has qualified? Well, what you're going to do is the results of the WIDA screener for kindergarten and the WIDA screener online must be shared with the parents within the first 30 calendar days of enrollment, and those are calendar days, or 2 weeks of enrollment if they enter after those first 30 calendar days. And you'll want to make sure all of that information is entered into Infinite Campus so that way students are ready. And we'll be talking more about that, also about entering that information in a different module. Now, I've got some beginning of the school year guidance for you for the WIDA screener and WIDA online screener. As always, you know, these screeners cannot be given remotely. So you have to have, if you've got students who are still, you know, virtual and they're not attending school in person, you will have to bring them in, arrange a time to bring them in, and for the parent to bring them in for you to screen them in person, because we don't have remote screening of any of our screeners. So you want to make sure that that is done at the very beginning of the year. Schedule those, make sure that you have staff that are trained to administer the screeners, whether it be the WIDA screener for kindergarten or the WIDA screener online. Now let's start with the WIDA screener for kindergarten. What's that going to look like? Well, this screener is a paper pencil screener. It is done on paper pencil. This is given to first semester kindergarten and first grade. They take the oral domains of listening and speaking only. Second semester kindergarten students will take all 4 domains of the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the reason why we always back up, you know, our grade levels when we're doing this is because the student hasn't had that grade level yet. They're just beginning that particular grade level. And so you always want to back up the screener, you know, to the previous year according to the grade level for that student. So for this one, this student is kindergarten. So, there's only a WIDA screener for kindergarten. But for our grade 1 students, you always back it up. So for grades 1 through 12, you're going to back that up. And so that grade 1 student would take the kindergarten screener as well in first semester. And so you're only going, like I said, you're only going to administer the 2 domains, which is the oral part of listening and speaking. It usually takes up to about 30 minutes to be able to do this for students. And in the second semester, when you're testing your kindergarten and your grade 1 students, it usually takes up to 45 minutes to be able to do that. And the materials you're going to need are to administer this is a storybook. You're also going to need the test administrator script. You're also going to need the cards, the score sheet, and the response booklet. And you'll be able to get the script, the cards, the score sheet, and the response booklet. All is free and downloadable off of the WIDA Secure portal. And that's what your test administrators are going to print off prior to screening students. Now, though, there is going to be, there was a WIDA Screener for Kindergarten webinar, which occurred on July 23rd from 1 to 2. That webinar was recorded and available. So in case you missed the WIDA Screener for Kindergarten webinar, you'll want to make sure that not only that you go on the WIDA Secure portal and do the trainings online, but then also when you log into the WIDA Secure portal, you'll be able to get to this particular webinar. And I'll show that in the modules when I get to the WIDA Secure portal. And so don't, be upset or anything that you may have missed it, because like I said, any of the trainings that WIDA does, they're always recorded and available for you a week after they're done live with participants. Now, what are you going to do with those WIDA screener scores? Kindergarten students, regardless of their screener scores, must be administered access the following January. Kindergarten students can't exit the EL program until after taking kindergarten access. And we do have parents who refuse services. And even though a parent has refused services, the student is still, if they're identified off the screener by meeting less than that criteria that we're going to be talking about, then they will, even though a parent refuses services, the student is still EL, will still take access in, so this student would still take access in kindergarten, for kindergarten access in January, February during our window. And what they'll do is the classroom teacher would be providing those services for them. They would not be pulling the student out. And then, they would still have a program services plan and still be receiving those services and accommodations within the classroom. Now, let's talk about the WIDA Screener online. It is administered grade level clusters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. That the students are tested in all language domains except for, for our WIDA Screener online. For first semester, they would take the kindergarten. And so the students who are second semester would be taking all 4 domains of the WIDA Screener online. And so they're scored in the domains. So the test administrator the only domains that the test administrator will score is the speaking and writing. And so when the test administrator has completed the scoring training on the WIDA Secure Portal. Then you, as a district assessment coordinator, will go into the WIDA Assessment Management System, WIDA AMS, and you will go where you had entered the students where you had entered your test administrators in there, so that way they could get rights to it. So you'll go in, and we'll talk about that in the module and be able to go through that in detail. But you'll be able to go in and edit their permissions as a test administrator once they've passed it and given you the particular certification that they've passed the WIDA online screener, passed that quiz in the WIDA Secure Portal. Then they will print that off, or they can send that to you electronically. You'll go into WIDA AMS, into their permissions, and give them what we call educator scoring. And that will allow them, once the student has completed the domains of speaking and writing, then you as a test administrator will be able to go in and score those. Those will be the only 2 domains that you as a test administrator will score. Materials you're going to need to administer this is the script. The student test tickets, because you're going to need to print out test tickets in WIDA AMS to be able to print those out, and the student roster. Writing test booklets for grades 1 through 3 only, and then scratch paper if needed. And we just want to caution you around scratch paper. Even though we do allow this should not be used to write out everything that they're going to say in the speaking, or to write out everything they want to put online for writing. That's not what the purpose of this scratch paper is. It's just to jot a few little ideas that they need to do that with. Your test tickets and your scratch paper, just want to kind of go over all of the materials. When you're getting these off of the WIDA AMS, and then also with the kindergarten, when you're printing these materials, you want to keep all your materials secure, and that you want to destroy, your test tickets and your scratch paper should be destroyed securely after screening is completed. All materials are to be kept in locked storage until screening is complete. And so you always have to follow our test security protocols in the administration code and inclusions of special population when you're providing accommodations for students. You always want to follow those rules and make sure that you have reviewed those as well. Now, and always maintain test security, also not only with the test materials, but also monitoring students while they're taking these assessments, making sure they do not have any electronic devices that they would need, that they're not going to need on this assessment. Those should be either taken up or not brought into the classroom at all. And then that way you don't have to worry about them getting on any type of devices. So that's always very important to go over that before you start administering it. When you're administering the WIDA Screener online, the reading and listening take up to 15 minutes each. Speaking and writing take up to about 25 minutes, so a total of 80 minutes altogether to give the WIDA Screener online. Now, with the WIDA online screener, grades 1 through 12, when they're in second semester, grade 1 through 12, what they're going to do is, if a student scores an overall composite of less than a 4.5 on the WIDA online screener, the student is considered EL and will be placed into the program. And the student will take access in January. They will have you would need to make sure to have a program services plan, And also don't forget to meet with the parents to go over their plan and let them know what goals and objectives you're going to be providing for that student. And then also, if a student in this grade level scores an overall composite of a 4.5 on the WIDA screener, then the student is considered what we call initially fully English proficient, which is IFAP. The student is not an EL student, will not take access and will not be put into the program, would not have a PSP, and would be like any other student. So just remember those particular things when you're looking at these. And then we do have trainings and things like that that will be coming up for the WIDA online screener webinars. We have a WIDA screener online webinar that will occur on August the 6th from 1 to 2 p.m. in that Central Time. Details about this webinar are in the WIDA Secure portal. And there will be a separate training on the WIDA Secure portal. And like I said, if you're not able to attend on August the 6th, it will be recorded and will be posted on the WIDA Secure portal underneath the webinars tab approximately a week after the presentation. Also, for your technology person in your district who it's very important that you know that they watch you know, the WIDA AMS and DRC technical enhancements for 2024-2025 webinar recording that is located on the webinars page in the WIDA Secure portal. It's always important that they keep up to date with the devices, making sure that they're ready to go, that all the updates have been done to the devices prior to you screening your students, so that way you don't have any issues. WIDA Screener online resources. You also want to, in WIDA AMS, you want to watch the training video that provides brief overviews on common tasks in WIDA AMS. These videos are each like 1 to 2 minutes to show you how to complete the task on creating a student, because, you know, when you're doing screening for WIDA Online Screener, you have to manually add your students in there. They're not pre-populated for you like Access is. And so you will have to manually add the students, you know, create the registrations and download your test tickets. And there's videos on each one of these tasks to help you. There's also videos are available in the WIDA Secure portal under resources, screener online. There are updated test demos, test practice, and online sample items available for you before you even begin screening your students. You also want to get them ready to screen, so there are test practice to help them to navigate when they get into the actual assessment. Also in DRC Insight. So you will want to review the step-by-step instructions on how to complete tasks in WIDA AMS through the WIDA AMS user guide, but also there are things that we're going to be talking about in more detail in WIDA AMS and how to set those students up and how to get to the tickets and how to get your test administrators into WIDA AMS, how to get your students in there. And we'll see more details on this in module number 4. So be looking for that particular detail. Here are the 2 manuals. I'll also link those for you to help you know where to find those. Make sure that you read the manuals and gone over those. It's also important if you've got any students who are being screened and they have an IEP, because, you know, if they have an IEP and they're EL, and you're screening them, they do get accommodations, and you would want to make sure that you look over the accessibility and accommodations manual to look at not only the participation guidelines, the framework. There are type of supports to help them, accommodations. Also, there's the, if you've got students who, there's shortcuts for you. Also, it talks about scribing for the students who are EL and have an IEP. They also, for the WIDA screener and online accommodations, there are forms at the end of this manual in Appendix D that you'll want to print off, and those are on page 31. So I've given you exactly where to go to get those forms, and it goes through and tells you what accommodations that the student can have on both the WIDA screener for kindergarten and the WIDA screener online if they have an IEP or a 504. And so, because that's the only way that you can have accommodations on our screeners or on our assessments with access. And then, like I said, you have the accommodations. Like I said, make sure that you're using those. And students who had an IEP or 504, in our Monday DAC email on July 8th, we had resources for supporting ELs with disabilities. And there was some new guidance to help you with the WIDA screener for ELs for students who are blind or visually impaired or who are deaf and hard of hearing. So go back to that Monday DAC email as a district assessment coordinator, and you can get that. And that's also posted to our KDE website underneath assessment support. And you as that any of your district staff can get to at this point, because they are posted to our website after they are released to our district assessment coordinators on Monday. Timelines for you. We have for kindergarten and WIDA online screener, of course, we've gone over the first 30 calendar days of enrollment to give the home language survey, make sure if the student and then administer the WIDA screener kindergarten and online. And if they qualify, then then you'll want to make sure to have a program services plan in place and make sure that you have a team that is involved of doing the PSP. Enter those information under IC, under program participation, and also the assessment scores are underneath the assessment tab. And then you'll want to make sure in Infinite Campus that you have the date administered and all the scores for that student. For the WIDA screener online, make sure all of your TAs have reviewed the screening trainings and have done those and taken the quizzes on the WIDA Secure Portal and have passed those with 80% or higher. And those screener trainings always start July 1. And make sure you as a DAC, you will keep those quiz scores on file in the district office. You will also, as a DAC, assign educators permissions in WIDA AMS after the TA has passed that WIDA online screener quiz. And then your DAC or a BAC can provide the administration code and inclusions of special training to TAs at the beginning of the school year. Also, your BACs or DACs will set up the test session in WIDA AMS. Your TAs will score them. The student reports are available after scoring takes place in all 4 domains, or for your kindergarten, you're only going to take 2 of the domains at the very beginning. And for the WIDA online screener, your score reports will be in WIDA AMS, and for kindergarten, you will get those you will see those score reports on the WIDA website. Most responses were available to you if you're doing the WIDA online screening and WIDA AMS within 15 minutes, but it could take up to 2 hours for you to get those, to be able to get those responses available to score. Make sure DACs, make sure that the scores are entered into Infinite Campus at the beginning of the school year. And if the EL student enrolls after that, that you've got all of this done within 2 weeks. Timelines for accessing WIDA Screener online. Of course, we have data review that is coming up for 23-24 that DACS will want to make sure to be ready for. Also, DACS will also be updating the spreadsheets for access and alternate access. And also, if you want any of your test administrators, as a test administrator, they will get the e-learning as well as the access to the assessment. But if you've got any content teachers that are providing services to the students, you want to make sure that they do, and they're not going to be testing, that they have the access to the WIDA e-learning courses, that professional development. And we'll talk about those in different modules. Also, DACS want to make sure that you've gone in and you have updated your permissions in WIDA AMS for the ones you're going to be screening this year, and that your technology coordinators are ready to go and have got their devices prepared and have read everything in WIDA AMS, and also have attended their trainings that they need to be prepared for this year's screening. There are additional assessment webinars that you have to do besides the trainings that I do, these module trainings for this year. You also have underneath the WIDA Secure portal, there was a link here to those webinars page to be able to get to all the webinars that are going to be happening this year. Also, just want to make sure as a test administrator that you have marked that you've attended the WIDA screener for kindergarten on the WIDA Secure portal. If you've done it live or if you've watched the recording, make sure you've done that before you administer the kindergarten. And then before you do WIDA screener online or paper, make sure that you've attended the webinar on August the 6th for screening those students who need the online. And like I said, all of those are recorded and ready to go. We're more than glad to help you with any questions that you have. Here's our contacts and links to those in our office, in the Office of Assessment Accountability. Here are the other back to school trainings for you to help you with your back to school trainings, because there's more trainings than just the access and alternate access that we're going through on these modules. Here is our contact information in the Division of Assessment and Accountability Support. You see our, to get any of us, you can call our number. And then also if you can also email us through dacinfo@education.ky.gov. And my direct email is here. I am the program consultant who works with our English learners. So feel free to contact us and we'll be more than glad to work with you with your English learners, and also any other questions that you may have about our assessments.